Thank you. Welcome. Would the Chamber Board of Directors please stand? Chamber Board, come on. Thank you. Thank you for hosting the State of the City year after year. And for those of you who don't know, this is hosted by the Chamber of Commerce and has been for years. We're Facebook Living it tonight for the first time ever. How you doing there? Now, we didn't announce it because we were afraid some of you would have just stayed home and watched it on Facebook. And for the fourth time, we're videoing it so you can watch it on our channel 16. Don't go anywhere. I want you to stay. Thank you, Michelle Madden. Where are you, Michelle? In the lobby. She's out there working. Well, see, they've got to go, the whole chamber's got to go out there and figure out the auction items. But don't they put on a great event? Alex Godina. Always a smile on your face. Alex, where are you? Thank you, buddy. He's the chairman of the board this year. You'll do a great job. Cheryl Allgood, she's probably out in the lobby. She's the one that runs, is the manager here at the Ruth E. Jackson Center. She replaced Chip. Chip got a promotion and Cheryl took his place. Listen, an individual's here tonight, long time resident of Grand Prairie, loved my mom and dad. It's his birthday. Olin Massey, where are you? Happy birthday, Olin. And he's old enough to have known my mom and dad. You can go to Facebook, you can see how old he is. I think it's pretty interesting. Some people don't put their age on it, you know. So-and-so's birthday today, age is blank. When I go to elementary schools, they always ask me my age, always. And then they're shocked when I tell them, you know, I'm 68, oh my gosh. But Rebecca says it's just like I'm their grandfather. Charlie, if I have a bad day, and I don't have bad days. It's been a long time, folks, since I've had a bad day. Rebecca knows that. We're blessed. But if I had a bad day, I'd head to a school and say, I need to go talk to your third graders. They will give you an uplift like you've never had before. You get in amongst third graders, get on the floor with them, read a book, and have them ask you questions. You forget about what else is going on. That's my sweet spot, the third graders. I always have the pleasure of introducing our elected officials, and all of our elected officials that are serving in Austin could not make it tonight because they're down there. Things are happening fast down there, but representing Senator, retired Lieutenant Colonel Senator Brian Birdwell is Susie DeArmond. Susie, thank you. And would y'all hold the applause until the end? I've got a long list. So Susie's here tonight. Representing State Representative Chris Turner is Miles Wilson. Representing newly elected County Commissioner Devin Allen is Kelly Rodriguez. Representing Dr. Elba Garcia, our Dallas County Commissioner, is Blanca Torres. And then we have two of our new JPs here tonight, Judge Mike Jones and Judge Sasha Marino. Both are Dallas County Justice of the Peace. So thank y'all for coming tonight. Next. Now, this is interesting. You've heard of Where's Waldo? Well, where's the mayor in that picture? Right there. I'm still nimble enough I can get up without them helping me. I can't hop up like I used to, but that's fun. Where's the mayor? From our school board president Burke Hall, school board vice president Aaron King, school board member Gloria Carrillo, school board member Chester McQuarrie, who Rebecca and I went skiing with in Rio Dosa probably 45 years ago, Chester. Rebecca and I have been married 47 years. Round of applause. That's 47 years. And we went on a bus trip to Ruidoso with Chester, probably 45 years ago. School board member Terry Brooks, and then school board member Steve Prairie, who's decided not to run for school board, so I want to congratulate him on his 7 years in service and thank him for his service. Now, the school district has achieved several accolades and student success stories of note. You may not know this, but you know, we're an old first-ring city. That means we were one of the first suburbs outside of Dallas. So we are old. We have streets and houses older than other towns don't have. Like Avion Village celebrated its 75th. 77% of our kids in GPISD qualify for free or reduced lunches. 77%. But our school district and our teachers don't look at that and say, well, you're on free lunches, you can't learn. Our school district achieved a B rating from TEA. Let's give them a round of applause. The districts all around us with fewer kids on free lunches got C's, except for Mansfield. Mansfield only has 41 on free or reduced, and they got an A. I'm telling you this, if Mansfield had got a B, that superintendent would be looking for a new job. See, it's expected. It's expected of those schools that have the higher socioeconomic. We expect it from our kids here, and thank y'all. In fact, there's only 3 schools in the whole DFW area with 75% on reduced or free lunches or higher that received a B or higher. We're one of the 3. That's amazing. From our city manager's office, City Manager Tom Hart and his wife Susan, Deputy City Manager Anna Dahl, Deputy City Manager Bill Crowley, Deputy City Manager and Police Chief Steve Dye. And before I introduce our current council, I want to recognize Mayor Charles Ingram. But before y'all applaud, I just want to tell you, we go out to eat with Charlie and Janice once a month, try to, and we were meeting them out to eat the other day, and I knew I was working on this speech and how many great things I wanted to announce, and I kind of felt bad. Charlie's going to be here tonight, and he's going to hear all the great things, and I didn't feel bad but about 10 seconds because I remember him telling me, you got to take credit when things are good, because when the wheels come off, you're going to get blamed for it. But Charlie, let me tell you, those of you that know this town, when Charlie first got elected, it's like buying a lot. It's hilly, got rocks on it, lots of trees, but he saw the vision. It took him a while. He had to get some council members on the council with him to pull along with him, like Frank Robinson, like our beloved Ruthie Jackson and others. And before long, he had a council believing in his plan and started work, clearing the land, throwing those rocks away, leveling it, so when we took over, we had a good fertile ground to work with to lay the foundation and start building. So Charlie, thank you for what you did. Tonight on the council, Mayor Pro Tem Jeff Copeland and his wife Melanie, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Greg Gessner and his wife Kelly, Councilwoman Georgia Clemson and her husband Dan, Councilmember Jeff Woolridge, Councilmember Jim Swafford and his wife Judy, Councilmember Richard Frigo and his wife Gisela, Councilmember Mike Del Bosque, and Councilmember Cole Humphreys. Please give them a round of applause. We work real hard for y'all. We have a good group. I'm going to introduce my family now. Those of you that have ever done anything like this, you know you have to have strong support of your family. And I do. My family, my extended family, they're all here tonight. My sister Vicki, her husband Tom, and their entire family's over on the tabletop at 10. Rebecca's Sister Nancy's homesick, but her husband Terry with one of their daughters and a friend is with us tonight. Her brother Sammy and his wife Brenda. Her brother Jeff and his date Lisa. Our daughter Jennifer, her husband Stan is out of town, couldn't be with us tonight. Our daughter Nicole and her husband John. Our son Eric, who's also on the City Council and the Trophy Club, and his wife Renee, along with their son and our grandson Jackson. And then, of course, my beautiful wife Rebecca. We've seen so much change in the recent years. I ask daily, what's next, Mayor? I can tell you lots of great stuff. Let's talk about the highlights tonight. But there's still things that I can't announce tonight that we're talking about. One of them that I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to announce, I will be able to. I'll tell you about it in a minute. But before we get to the new stuff, would it surprise you that in 2017, nationwide, a record-breaking 102 million square feet of retail space closed? And I'm not talking you go to the title company and close to buy it. I'm talking closed, vacant, Zippo, bankrupt. A record 102 million square feet of retail space. 2018 broke that record, 155 million square feet of retail closed. And in 2019, we're on pace to do that. But we still got some great things to announce. We're opening tons of new retail, and you can see with all the dirt moving and doors opening along 161, as 50 new restaurants and retail outlets are being built. While a lot of the tenant mix is still underway, I can announce these retailers are in the mix. Ross, which opens tomorrow, and Rebecca will be the first one in line. She knows where all 50 are in the DFW area, and I do too, because I take her to all of them. Michael's, Ulta, Burlington's, Conn's, Home Plus, Petco, Burke's Outlet, Home Goods will open between March and May. These restaurants have opened or will be opening. Starbucks, the new Starbucks has surpassed my Starbucks. My Starbucks is the one on South Carrier. The new one on 161 has already passed it. And as a matter of fact, I talked to the district manager today, and they feel like with everything that's going on here, they may have to put a second Starbucks on the west side of 161 in a couple of years. Panda Express, Whataburger, which is where I had lunch today, Chipotle, El Pollo Loco, Smoothie King. You know, why was I excited when somebody said we're getting a Smoothie King? You know why? Because we didn't have one. I'm for anything that we ain't got. Jimmy John's, Jason's Deli, Olive Garden. Rebecca and I feel like Olive Garden is going to be so busy they'll have to build another Olive Garden right next to it. And a new Chick-fil-A with a double drive-through, and Chick-fil-A's here tonight. We finally got them through zoning the other day. Now here's some other first-time announcements. How many of you have eaten at Broken Egg in Destin? It's well known in Destin. We're getting the first watch, which they say is better than Broken Egg. Salada Salad Kitchen, 0 Degrees, Genghis Grill, the Crab Station, and Blaze Pizza. If you've ever eaten at a Blaze Pizza, it's like going through the line of Chipotle. You just tell them how to put your ingredients on as you go through the line, and they fire oven it right there. It's just one of the neatest things. I'm excited about that. And also, finally, we're getting the Fuzzy's Tacos. Yeah. I've wanted a Fuzzy's since I became mayor. Eddie White's here tonight. Stand up, Eddie. You're sitting with Marty. Thank you, Eddie. And then the Madranos at Texas Roadhouse are building a bigger restaurant. I was joking today, and Amy believed me. You know, I was going through the speech today. You know, having worked with Rick Harold and Tom Hart, you wouldn't think she'd believe everything. And I said, you know, Taco Bueno helped pay for the new site so they could get their parking lot back. She says, really? I said, Amy. But if you've ever been to Taco Bueno on Sunday afternoon, you can't park in Taco Bueno because you have to park in Wendy's and walk over to Taco Bueno because everybody else is parked at Taco Bueno. Well, it's going to be larger, 1,000 more square feet and more parking. moving about 300 yards to the east, still on the frontage road. But there's two big announcements I'm making tonight. If Fuzzy's wasn't big enough. Living Spaces is going into the old Restoration Hardware business. Now, you may not have heard of Living Spaces. It's huge, folks. Restoration Hardware was our single biggest sales tax paying business in town. And you ask, how's that? You couldn't buy anything from that store. If you've ever shopped at a Restoration Hardware, you don't buy it there. You buy it there. You don't pick it up there. You don't take anything home from Restoration Hardware. They ship it to you. That Restoration Hardware was one of 3 distribution sites in the nation, and we got the sales tax from it. When they told us they were moving and going back to just 2, it devastated us. Because they had the lease, we had nothing in that lease that said they couldn't just lease it to any warehouser. Lucky for us, they leased it to another retail furniture store. And not only that, Living Spaces is going to have a 175,000 square feet retail store. Restoration Hardware did not. You couldn't shop in there. It will also have 700,000 square foot fulfillment center. I need to give you things in comparison. Our IKEA is 290,000 square feet, and the Walmart right across the road is 187,000 square feet. So this is a big furniture store. Plus the 700,000 square feet is a fulfillment center. We'll get sales tax off of it. Check them out online. Magnolia Home by Joanna Gaines has stuff in it. But one of the other exciting things, I know, we watch it too. I mean, we'll watch it for a while and then we have to take a month break. It just gets a little too much. It's kind of like Hell's Kitchen. I can take that for a while. I love him, but then I have to take a break. Inside of Living Spaces is a 6,500 square foot Beck's Prime restaurant, the finer side of fast food, featuring award-winning hamburgers, unique salads, sandwiches, and steaks. Fresh ingredients. She's got pictures of it. That's going to be at Living Spaces with an entrance just to the restaurant. You don't have to shop it and go find it. Here's the second big announcement. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to announce it. Mr. Weber, I promised him. Mr. Weber, you're here. Would you please stand? John Weber, thank you, John, for what you've done. All the development along 161 right now has been John's development. We have some other brokers in the area, and it's just a tough sell right now. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to announce this. I and the council and many of even the P&Z and our staff knew it, but when a customer and a client tells us, Mary, would rather you not announce it, we try to fulfill that. We try to keep it under lid. So tonight I'm telling you we're getting a main event. Now, I don't know if you know much about main event. Why do I think main event's a big deal? Let's look at things. IKEA is a regional store. Living Spaces is a regional store. It's not built just to take care of us. Epic Waters is a regional tourism center. Main event. There is not another main event. We're going to take care of all of southeast Dallas County. There's one in South Fort Worth. There's one in Grapevine. There's nothing southeast of us. Nothing. There's not another main event. They have laser tag, bowling, food, rock climbing, gravity ropes, billiards, mini golf, karaoke, virtual reality games, birthdays, birthday parties. Folks, the amount of birthdays we hold at Epic Waters, the amount of birthdays we'll be holding at the Epic, and the amount of birthdays we hold there, there's no other place that has a half a mile radius is going to have as many birthday parties in it. We are going to become the birthday capital of the world. So again, when you add those along with the outlet mall in Traders Village, look at the wide range of regional things that come to our city to shop. So thank you for all you've done. Thank you, John. Let's talk about Epic Central and why it's a regional draw. Epic Waters, only 35% of the people that attended Epic Waters this past year lived in Grand Prairie. Only 35%. We've done a full year of operations, 386,000 people through the doors, 4,400 birthday parties, guests from 47 states and 6 countries. You know, how many states they came from and all that doesn't mean anything to me. It may have been one person from Alaska. What means something to me is that 65% of them don't even live here. They're coming spending money here in Grand Prairie. And the outdoor wave pool, oh me. Do I look like it's cold? Technically the wave pool is open, but it's cold, as I can attest, having done the polar plunge a few weeks ago. I mean, I didn't realize how cold it was until I got in it. But there was too many people filming me, I couldn't turn around. I mean, another Facebook Live moment. There's the mayor. Well, he's running out. Where's he going? Be like that bachelor that hopped the fence. What's his name? Colt? Yeah. Where'd the mayor go? Come back, mayor. Oh, most of you don't know what I'm talking about. Colton, is it? Colton, okay. We opened the Epic Arts, Fitness, and Entertainment Center in late 2018 and already have 5,000 members. We average 600 to 1,500 people a day. We've hosted 25 parties a month and offer 100 fitness, art, and culinary classes a week. We think we'll have 15,000 members and 500,000 visitors a year. If you haven't seen it, folks, Dr. Crompton, who's one of the professors at A&M, helps, thank you, helps cities develop great park systems. And I've learned through Rick Harold that the Parks, Arts, and Entertainment District is here to change lives. That's the business that the Parks Department's in, changing lives. Dr. Crompton says there's nothing like the Epic anywhere in the U.S. Other cities will be coming here to copy it just like they did the summit. It will be an award-winning. It's open to all ages, gym courts, indoor track with an oh, I love this. How many basketball players do we have in the room? They have a gizmo there that is a big net funnel around the goal that shoots the basketball back to you, even when you miss. Unless you just hit a real clunker and it goes outside the deal. But you make one, it gives you back, you shoot another, and you move over here. It's the neatest thing I've ever done. Indoor pool with lap and resistance lanes, an indoor aqua tots water playground, rentable party rooms, has 3 rentable party rooms, an automated library, children's indoor playground, a teen room, and a recording studio. Plus, if you've ever been to the Kessler Theater, we have an exact, almost exact duplicate. I can't say exactly anymore because the balcony isn't exactly like the Kessler, but nearly everything else down to the sides and the flooring space is an exact duplicate of the Kessler. It's the Epic Theater presented by Texas Trust. Thank y'all. And you can see there's who will be coming. You can get the details at jointheepic.com. Next door to all this is Playground Adventures. It's one of the most special things the city's doing. If you haven't heard about it, it is. It's a playground for people of all ages and abilities. Phase 1 should open later this year. According to the Central Texas Council of Governments, North Texas is home to more than 660,000 people living with disabilities. Many who have never been able to take their child to a playground and do anything with them together, or 2 siblings, one can, one can't. Or a father, a wounded warrior, can't play with his kids. This is for all ages and all abilities. I'm proud of our city for stepping up and doing this. Then between the Epic and the Summit, we have a 5.5 acre grand lawn. You can't have a Central Park without a grand lawn. Now, ours isn't as big as Central Park in New York, but it's 5.5 acres. We have amphitheater, trails. We're going to feature concerts, movie nights, lawn games, festivals, and events. We will kick off this concept surrounding spring break with movies and concerts beginning this Saturday night. I've already made my reservation. No, I haven't. Ralph Breaks the Internet. We'll be showing it out on the lawn this Saturday night. Then Wednesday and Friday evenings we'll be doing something. On March 16th, the George Strait tribute band called the King George Band plays. So mark it down, come out and visit. I can also tell you that we've signed some great bands for Main Street Fest. Main Street Fest is April 26th through 28th. Casey Donahue Band on Friday night, Tyler Farr on Saturday night, and then El Grupo Signo on Sunday. It's a fun event. Then beside the Summit along 160, the city is collaborating with hoteliers and restaurateurs to build a hotel, a small conference center, and restaurants. We will be able to announce our partners later this year. The goal is to break ground in early 2020. Two of our biggest employers, Lockheed and Airbus, have committed to use the Epic Central hotels for their out-of-towners and are signing corporate memberships at the Epic for their employees. Between everything in Epic Central and all our other tourism venues, we are definitely creating a regional and national draw for entertainment. In fact, surprise you, 10 million visitors a year currently visit Grand Prairie, events and venues. I ran into a group from another city visiting the Epic the other day and said, Mayor, how did you do this? How did you fund this? I get asked that a lot. I also get asked why we're not in DART. The answer to one is the answer to the other. So tonight I'm going to give you a little education. It goes back to the 1980s when the voters voted not to join DART. See, when you pay your sales tax, I think you're paying 8.25% right now. Is that right, Tom? 6.25% goes to the state, 1 penny of it goes to the city. Then the other penny can go to the city or to some other entity if the citizens of that city approve it. If the council puts it on the ballot and the city can approve it. It's a discretionary 1 penny. The voters voted not to give that penny to DART back in the 80s. Had they joined DART, had we joined DART, we would have given DART about $400 million to date and still wouldn't have light rail because of where we're situated. Whether you agree or disagree with that situation, that train has already left the station. No pun intended. But that choice was made in the 80s. So what have we done with that 1 penny? It started off with a ½ penny to build Lone Star Park, a $65 million project that was built and voted on in 1992. Another half cent voters approved, with the other ½ cent voters approved a 1/4 cent sales tax for perpetual park improvements and a 1/4 cent sales tax for street improvements. Let's just for the street improvements. That's $9 million a year right now that go into street improvements. And I know you're sitting there saying, well, you hadn't improved my street. But just think about it. Since 2001, that 1/4 cent's been going in there to improve streets. Just think of what big a hole we would be in if we hadn't been fixing roads with that 1/4 cent. Roads cost a lot of money. Arlington finally passed the same tax in their city, and when they did it, they said they were $500 million behind fixing their streets. This will help them crawl out because you can't put that $9 million in your budget and do it without raising taxes. So thank you, citizens. Y'all voted a 1/4 cent sales tax to help keep our streets up. Then, if you recall, Lone Star Park was paid off in 2007, and at that time, voters approved a 1/4 cent sales tax to build the police fire building. Isn't it a beautiful building? An 1/8 cent sales tax to build the Summit, and an 1/8 cent sales tax to build the Air Hog Stadium. That's the penny, but it doesn't stop there. In 2013, we went back to the voters for that quarter-cent sales tax for the police and fire and asked y'all to approve us putting it into a crime control and prevention district so we could hire officers out of it, so we could maintain the 1.5 officer for 1,000 citizens average, which is known well. That's the standard. And that keeps it from hitting the budget and helps all of us. So y'all overwhelmingly approved it. So that quarter-cent retires the debt on the police fire building, and maybe about half of it goes to hire officers. So then, if you recall, and we're here for my first State of the City, what did I announce and ask y'all to do? I asked you to take the 8th cent that we were paying on the Air Hog Stadium and the 8th cent that we were paying on the Summit. They were fixing to come to an end, and I asked y'all to vote a $75 million 25-year package to build the Epic and Epic Waters, and y'all approved it overwhelmingly. So that's what you approved, and you see the fruition of it. It's built, we're using it now. That was done with a quarter-cent sales tax. The quarter-cent sales tax helps reduce, it pays for the debt on the Epic, but also we didn't want it to hit the general fund. In your general fund, part of that quarter-cent pays for the staffing at the Epic, which allows us to have you pay unreasonably ridiculous low rates. I was a member of Lifetime Fitness paying $85 a month for a single membership. Now it's $29 at the Epic. I walked into Lifetime Fitness, and the girl at the desk, she said, "Mayor, I mean, it's Mansfield. I know why you're here. You're here to cancel your membership and you're joining the Epic." I said, "How'd you know?" She said, "I live in Grand Prairie." Well, bless your heart. So, you know, that's what we did. Now, Epic Waters, the quarter-cent retires the debt, but Epic Waters floats its own boat. Meaning our Epic Waters operations covers all the expenses for Epic Waters, pays the staff out of its revenues, not the sales tax. So here's where we are right now on the penny. On the penny, it's not written down here, I'll do it by memory. Quarter-cent goes to crime control and prevention, quarter-cent goes to parks, a quarter-cent goes to the Epic, and a quarter-cent goes to street. That's what it is right now. Got that? Let's see what it's built. Lone Star Park, Air Hog Stadium, the Summit, Police Fire Building, the Epic, Epic Waters. Perpetual parks, streets, and crime control. Thank you all for allowing us to do that. Let's give yourselves a hand. We would not be able to do all this. The budget couldn't stand it. Arlington, I love being neighbors of Arlington. We benefit from them having Jerry World in the baseball field. They did that because they're not in mass transit with their penny. I'm glad they've got it, not us. If you want to do a kind of a relationship, they did it for the Cowboys and the Rangers, which I'm proud they did. We did ours for y'all. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Another thing we partnered with, we're finally fixing to open up Firehouse Gastro Park in the historic fire station #1 on Main Street. Carly and Jason Smith are here. Thank y'all for coming tonight. This indoor-outdoor dining and craft beverage concept with an outdoor game area will be a great addition to Main Street. Daily menu will include Nashville hot chicken, farm-to-table salad, smokehouse meats, and great burgers. They'll also have plans for culinary pop-ups and food trucks. Now, the joke is that Tom and I would have been having a hot dog stand in there just so we could tell Charlie we had a restaurant in the old fire station. Another eatery on Main Street that is drawing big crowds and made the Texas Monthly last week. I don't know if you saw it. Made the Texas Monthly. Zavala's award-winning barbecue, now open on Saturdays only. It's on Main Street in the Farmer Barb's Bakery. Joe Zavala tells us that 200 to 300 customers are there every Saturday. It's open 8 to no mas. And no mas is usually around 2 o'clock. I got in trouble the other day. You know, social media can get you in trouble. Who knew? Zavala's was written up. And I posted they were written up. Well, I got flack from the restaurants that I didn't. And y'all saw it. And I said, look, if any of our restaurants are here, I told them I've never eaten there. Well, why'd you post it? I didn't post it. I posted it because it made the Texas Monthly. And it's advertising Grand Prairie. But I said, I'll come to your restaurant next week. And I did. And you can see where I went. You can go on my Facebook page, and I had a great dinner with him. Lunch. I went to Mike's. But the point is, I'm for promoting Grand Prairie. Your business, your restaurant gets written up at the Texas Monthly, I'm going to post it. I'm not going to tell you whether it's good or bad. I'm just going to, no, I'll tell you whether it's good or bad. Something else is real special. We opened a VA clinic. Thank you. We need to do that for our veterans. Now, we didn't do it, but it's in Grand Prairie. It's in Tarrant County, but any veteran can go to it. It's not an overnight stay, it's a clinic. It's over Great Southwest Parkway in Sherman, filling up an empty building and providing outpatient care. What a blessing for our veterans. We can expect lots of new construction and development on the Peninsula in 2019 and 20. I'm fixing to give you a rundown of what's going on out of the Peninsula. Why am I doing this? Folks, when I first got on the council, that was the master planned community. Those who did it, it was the master planned community. What I mean by master planned, it had houses, apartments, condos, lots of retail. There's a lot of places in our city there wasn't enough retail lots set aside for retail. This has it. I remember when I was first elected, Charlie and I had to go to Washington to talk to Congressman Martin Frost. You remember that trip, Charlie? We had, because here's what was going to happen on our peninsula. It was going to have a Cedar Hill address. Right, Charlie? And we went to Martin Frost and said, we can't have that big a part of our city that may be as big as a city someday have a Cedar Hill address. Now, my son lived in North Fort Worth for a while, and his address was Roanoke. But he couldn't vote in Roanoke. He voted in Fort Worth because that's where he lived, but it was post office that served them was Roanoke, so everybody thought they lived in Roanoke. We would have had a whole 20,000 people later on living out there, and we'd be mailing stuff to Cedar Hill. Martin Frost agreed with us, bless his heart, and that's when we got 75054. That's how long ago that was. So on the west side of Lake Ridge Parkway, north of England, is the Lake Ridge Commons. 91 acres. It will have 98 single-family homes starting at $400,000. 100 single-family townhomes starting at $275,000. Then it's going to have some condos with retail on the first floor. On the northeast corner, you don't need to know the corners, somewhere else out there, somewhere on Lake Ridge out there, there's a 4,000 square foot quick stop gas and convenience store. They've got to drive all the way up to Camp Wisdom to get gas and a gallon of milk at night. It's going to be a convenience store and a gas station. Also, there's going to be an additional 4,000 square feet of retail with 3 tenants to give other neighborhood services. I'm sure there'll be a nail salon. Beside the quick stop, and as Rebecca and I say, a dentist's office. What is going on with all the dentist's office? I know we all got teeth, but there just can't be that much business for them. Besides the quick stop, and folks, we don't get to choose. I'd stop some of them if I could, but we don't get to. That's another thing that people think we can choose. Well, Mayor, why did you let that? They don't have to ask us. If it's zoned and it's approved, they don't. Mayor, can I build a dental office there? No, we have enough. Beside the Quick Stop will be the Mansions of Grand Prairie, luxury apartments. The mansions include retail and restaurant space on the ground floor. We've issued the permit for it already. Then on England Parkway in Lake Ridge, the Mar-a-Lagos townhomes north are being built to open in 2020. It's another 125 high-end townhomes, and they'll be age restricted at 55. Ooh, I got to tell this story, Georgia. You know what I'm going to tell about 55. She's not here tonight, I hope. We were at an event, and the lady said, and we supply food to the elderly over 55. George and I looked at each other and just rolled our eyes. Oh my. It will be age restricted to elderly 55 and older. Gated, it'll have front porches with no inclines so you won't trip. For those elderly 56-year-olds. You know, we've got to take care of our elderly, but don't tell somebody they're 56. They're elderly. Rebecca won't even let me ask for a senior discount going through Chick-fil-A. The little girl will sometimes say, I'm giving you a 10% senior discount. I'll say, no, no. Please don't. Robin, they do that. So these townhomes will be 87 units across the street from that are not age restricted. Serving South Grand Prairie, we just expanded and remodeled Warmack Library, and it just opened. Folks, it doubled in size. You know, Tom Hart has said this many a time. Police and fire take nearly what percentage of our budget, Tom? 60-something percent, but I would never want to live in a city that was just police and fire. I want parks, I want libraries, I want other things for our children and for us to do in a place we can go. Do I want safe city? Do I want police and fire? Of course I do. We have the best. But we need to take care of other things. There's people that use our libraries for their internet access. They can't afford it at home. Something that's dear to my heart, the Charlie Taylor Rec Center. I grew up at that center. My daddy pastored the church at Skyline at 8th Street, and I walked through the field to get to it every night, playing basketball. It was called Crockett Rec back at that time. As a matter of fact, my first semester at North Texas, I'd drive to the rec center on Wednesday nights to play in a commercial league basketball league. My mom and dad were across the street. I wouldn't even tell them I was there. I'd play in the basketball game, then drive back to North Texas, go to bed, and wake up and go to class the next day. I love that center. And what a great ambassador for Grand Prairie for it to be named after. I tell kids about him, and they've never heard of him. But those of us my age know Charlie Taylor. He was our nemesis at Washington for many years. So what a fitting honor to him. What's nice about this expansion, we went from 9,512 square feet to 20,850 square feet. Expanded the fitness room, game room, restrooms, and boxing area in partnership with the Grand Prairie Police. These boxing programs teach 500 to 50 to 100 kids. And this year we produced 7 Gold Glove competitors, and 3 of them won championships. So let's give them a round of applause. You've got to applaud our men and women in the police department that see that as a way to connect with young men and women. And there were girls there boxing. You need to go watch them sometime. The animal shelter expansion will be completed this year, going from 10,000 square feet to 18,000 square feet. Added 200 kennels, a surgery center, outdoor kennel, fenced grass play space, get-to-know interior rooms, and nursery space. We're in the new space now and renovating the old space. So we expect to have a grand opening this summer. Just think about that. The expansions we've done. Now to some news on our fire. We are replacing, we have torn it down. Zip, zap, it's gone. Fire station number 4. It was one of the old small ones we could barely fit. In fact, we had to modify it to get our engine in it. We're tearing it down and reopening it, a new one in 2020. We are enlarging and renovating fire station number 6 with, bless you, with completion this spring. Increase and update them and modernize the space for the staff and equipment apparatus. Last year, you know, I mentioned that we had achieved the ISO rating number 1 in 2017, because I said, look, we're the one in the center. Our city's built to hold a 1. Everybody around us are 2s. And I think if you weren't here, I told you that some of the cities around us can never get to a 2. And the reason is, if they don't do their own fire, if they don't do their own ambulances, they can never get there. And some of the cities around us farm out the ambulance service. We don't. It's part of our group. So some of the cities around us can never get to a 1. And what that means is not only, see, here's the deal. It cuts your insurance rates, but why does it cut your insurance rates? Because it lowers your risk. That's what we're after. Were we after reducing your insurance? Well, of course we were. But what we were after was reducing the risk, giving better service. And that's what our men and women of the fire department did, along with other departments, to get that coveted number 1 rating. We also met again for 4 years running the American Heart Association's gold standard. Now, when I tell you we meet the gold standard, that may not mean much to you, but here's how it's measured. If we had somebody have a heart attack in this room tonight, by the time the engine or the ambulance makes no difference, because in this city we have paramedics on both. The engine can't transport, but the engine will get you stabilized and has all the equipment on it that the ambulance does. The ambulance will get here, whichever one gets here first. We have to get that patient from here, once we breach that door, to a cath lab with a catheter in you in 90 minutes or less. We've done it 4 years in a row. This past year, we did it 100% of the time. Folks, there's only 4 cities in the Metroplex that do that. The other ones have a heart hospital in their city. We don't. Kudos to our fire department. I hope you noticed our restored historic 1939 fire engine out there tonight. Here's what's special about it. It was the first new fire truck the city ever owned. Huh? Awesome. Okay, thank you. Preach on, you know. That was the first new fire truck the city ever owned. Isn't that neat? Under construction is our new city hall. It connects our existing development center on the east side and city hall on the west. You know, we've known we needed to expand for quite some time, and we've even run numbers on tearing down things and rebuilding something new, but the cost was exorbitant, in the $50 million range. This is much cheaper, and it gives us some additional space. You'll have one entry where you'll enter at 3rd Street. You won't be able to drive on 3rd Street anymore, but the entrance will be where 3rd Street is right now. That's the main entrance. There'll be some offices there. You'll turn to the right to go to City Hall. You'll turn to the right, Development Center, to the left to go to City Hall. Central entrance, air-conditioned and safe breezeway connecting the two. It's going to be neat. While new development is important, as I mentioned earlier, we're an old city. We have implemented several task forces to redevelop older parts of our town, which to this council is equally important to us as the new development. The Downtown Redevelopment Task Force is a continuation of our investment in our historic downtown through infrastructure improvements, public art. I don't know, but that's Cole and Rita. This is the team that brought us Insta-worthy walls, street crossing art, mimosas, and murals, and Jingle Bell Bash. Also, the Commercial Retail Redevelopment Task Force is an incentive program for aging commercial properties to help improve their exterior. Folks, just drive around town. We've got some old areas that need help. It's an incentive program for aging commercial properties to help improve their exterior appearance and property value. The City Council has also recently approved higher standards for our new warehouse development. The Neighborhood Redevelopment Task Force has launched Building Blocks, a rebate program for residents to improve the exterior of their homes to enhance neighborhood identity, beautification, and, again, property value. Then we have the Hotel Apartment Redevelopment Task Force. It's an effort between city departments, particularly police and housing, to maintain high standards in new properties, incentivize the rehab of older properties, and maintain a safe environment of all our hotels, motels, and apartment complexes. I'm real proud of those efforts. We have to try to take care of what started. Chief Dye, who is also our Deputy City Manager, oversees these task forces. He's just given us some new data for our crime. 47% crime decrease from 2010 through 2018. That's 3,814 fewer crimes, even though our population has grown by 25,000. Here's the good news, another part of good news, 19%, we had a 19% decrease from 2017 to 2018. So we are now listed as the 7th safest city in Texas. Now, staff knows where I'm going with this. I do not like we're the 7th. Okay, was there 8 of us? We're the 7th out of 34. Now that's worthy of some. 7th out of 34, and we're one of the oldest cities in that list. Thank you, Chief Dye, but more importantly, thank you to the rank and file. You know, about a year ago, I attended an arraignment with Judge Arnold, who's here tonight, at our detention center. I met 8 young men. They spent the night in jail for outstanding warrants. They owed varying amounts. They owed more than they can pay. Folks, none of our kids would have spent the night there. Most of us in this room had the money to bail them out. We would have never let them get $1,500 behind on warrants. But these kids couldn't pay. It bothered me. What bothered me more is I saw it as a cycle. Judge Arnold told me that he would let them out. They could seek a payment record, but it was still too tough. They had to keep track of their car insurance. You know, it's just tough. And so that's when I started doing some research and found that mentoring young kids was a great option to try to keep them from getting into the cycle. So I created my Mayor's Mentors program in partnership with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. We had a kickoff meeting about a month ago. 80 people attended, and we had a number of people show interest. But folks, we still need bigs. We need Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So you can reach out to me, and I'll direct you in the right direction. While I was talking to Chief Dye and Judge Arnold, my heart was in those kids that were in that court system already, the juvies. Statistically, it shows that if they stay in that cycle, they're going to pull a more severe crime soon to help pay off those debts. And it escalates. Folks, I'm not telling you anything that can't be backed up by data. It's a vicious cycle. We've got to try to help stop the cycle. So Police Chief, Judge Arnold, our 2 JP courts, Marino, and Mike Jones are partnering with us, so we're adding an additional component to Mayor's Mentors, a once-a-month engagement and mentoring opportunity between these young offenders, police officers, and local leaders to interact, talk about life skills, making better choices. Folks, are we going to help them all? No. Are we going to help any? I pray we do. If we can help a few, it'll be worth it. If we can just help a few, it will be worth it. Let's talk about roads for a minute. If it weren't for roads, we wouldn't have the building going on that we have right now. That's a fact. Once the George Bush Turnpike opened up, we knew we would get development because we're smack dab in the middle of 6 million people. In April 2018, 360 opened to I-20 to US 287, opening 1,200 additional acres for development in Grand Prairie. I'm there with two of my favorite mayors, Mayor Cook and Mayor Williams. You can tell it was a windy day, can't you? It was a windy day. I tried to get them to turn around so the wind would be blowing this way, but now 360 opening up doesn't only help Grand Prairie, they have a lot of acreage for sale, and it helps Mansfield. I need to tell you a quick story, another John Weber story. I was on the council and we were negotiating with John Weber, and he was negotiating with the landowner at the east corner of Camp Wisdom in 360. But see, the west corner was available also. And those of you that are in retail know that many times they like to be on the what? Going home side of the street. So Arlington had a leg up. Of course, the city can only do so much. It had to be the landowner in working in cohort to try to make a deal with the developer. And John was able to work a deal with the landowner on our side of the land, along with a small incentive package we gave him in what he built, and it's on our site. And look what's happened years later. It is full. Nothing has gone across the street. If it was reversed, every time I'd go out there, I'd be pissed. Why did they get it and we didn't? So the point is, all the way down 360, we're going to be fighting with Arlington, even though I like Mayor Williams. And I like Mayor Cook. But they're going to have to sharpen their pencil because I want it in Grand Prairie. Yeah. Something that's a pain for us. Well, no, let's get to I-20 frontage roads. We're doing I-20 front. We're doing frontage roads everywhere. A lot of dirt moving. We needed the frontage roads. If you don't have frontage roads, you ain't going to get good development. We're getting frontage roads, folks. We're widening Great Southwest Parkway from 4 to 6 lanes from Sarah Jane to Mayfield. It cannot be completed soon enough, but it will be completed in 2020. TxDOT is also adding one southbound and one northbound lane on 360 from I-20 to I-30. An interesting story. I'm on the RTC, which decides when to fund these things. They didn't want to add those lanes on 360 until they saw the traffic counts on Bush. They need to add 4 more lanes. I mean, Bush is full, 360 is full. That extra lane can't get open fast enough. Then again, we're adding the frontage roads along I-30. Palace Parkway, the frontage road is going to open this spring. Is there a little picture? Yeah, that's Palace Parkway. So these I-30 corridor projects add up to open up 376 acres for development. In fact, we already showed y'all the Omni Plan development for I-30 and Beltline, and we are in discussions with our first developer. We're pursuing it. It's going to be a dense urban development, like a mixed-use apartment complex with some retail. We're in discussions with them right now. Let's talk about property values. Our property values have been rising. We continue to build new homes and enjoy a brisk home sales market. We issued 272 new single-family building permits in 2018 with an average value of $301,000. Our home sales median price of $229,000 exceeds Arlington, Garland, Cedar Hill, Duncanville, Hearst, and DeSoto. Because our values have been rising, even though we haven't raised property tax, what you pay for property tax has increased because the value of your home has increased. Folks, we've had a great run in Grand Prairie for quite a while now. The last time we cut the property tax was 17 years ago when we dropped the property tax a full half a penny. But since then, we have taken other significant actions to help our homeowners. We implemented an exemption of $45,000 for residents 65 and older who own, you know, if you're 65 and older, you're really elderly, and live in their residence. Then we also froze taxes for seniors who file for the senior exemption. In addition, we implemented a homestead exemption of 1% or $10,000, whichever is greater. But I've challenged Tom Hart to bring the council a budget for 2020 that will give further property tax relief to our residents. Your city, now that should get some applause. Applause. Your city council and I will continue to be good stewards of your tax dollars. We give you a lot of value and world-class service for what you pay. From police to fire, EMS to streets, water to wastewater, parks to libraries. We offer more amenities than most. And when I mention police and fire, when I go to, let's say, junior high, it's interesting the questions they ask, but in junior high, sometimes they ask, Mayor, what's your biggest worry? And it's always the same as first responder. Police and fire. Folks, you see the news. We've lost so many police officers after these last few years. And I don't know if you know this statistic. Our firefighters have a 10% greater risk of having cancer than the general public. Did you know that? A 10% greater risk. And folks, it's not from smoke inhalation. They wear the oxygen mask. It's from absorption. So what are cities doing? Each one of them have 2 sets of the gear now, and we have scrubbers in every fire station that clean them after a fire. We've got to take care of the men and women that serve us. And I'm always worried about getting a phone call. Anytime I get a phone call from Chief Fight or Chief Dye, I'm always relieved when it's not something bad that's happened. But not just our values have been rising, so has our popularity and visibility in Texas and nationwide. In fact, in 2018, we received many accolades. 2nd happiest city in Texas. 10th, I'm pretty happy tonight. Best place to retire. 5th best city in Texas for first-time home buyers. Top 50 in the U.S., best place to raise a family. 3rd best move in DFW. And maybe the one I like the best is the least hipster city in the U.S. That's pretty special. Now, the problem is we may lose it because some of the things they said is we don't have any vegan restaurants and we ain't got enough tattoo parlors. Well, our first vegan restaurant just opened. It's so vegan, and we now have 1 tattoo parlor. I'm afraid we may lose the least hipster designation next year. I'm sorry. Until then, your non-hipster city staff and elected officials are working hard to make sure Grand Prairie is the best it can be. Your support, positive input, and optimism all play a key role in ensuring our success. You know, and I've said this many times, When I first became mayor, I said I want the people who live, work, and play in Grand Prairie to feel better about living, working, and playing in Grand Prairie. You help us achieve that. It's when teachers talk to other teachers in other cities. It's when individuals are out and around. You talk about how good things are in Grand Prairie. It doesn't take long before you believe the story. And the story will become true. It has. We will continue to be that family-friendly, fun, affordable, and sought-after city. Truly a destination to live, work, and play. Now, in closing, if any of you have been coming to this state of the city for years, if you recall back to as far as 2007, when Charlie would give his state of the city, he would give the state of the city before the filing deadline. Do y'all remember that? And he would announce that night whether he would run again or not. My most memorable night was 2010, right, Brian? When he had told us he was not going to run. And he stood right here and said, I've decided to run for mayor again. Well, bless your heart, Charlie. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. I needed that 3 extra years to mature and learn more. And then you did announce in 2013 that you weren't. I was on the edge of my seat. Because the filing deadline had not come yet. Well, it's not as dramatic tonight because the filing deadline has closed, but I am here to tell you I'm running for mayor again. Thank you all. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed it. We do live in a special city. I talk to other mayors. Tom Hart talks to other city managers. We've got it very good. I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have all y'all. Y'all may not realize this. We don't agree on everything. Y'all may think we do. There's 9 of us. How could we? But we agree to disagree reasonably. And we support each other in the unanimous decision. Something that I'm really proud of, when we discuss things in executive session, it stays in executive session. I don't read about it the next day in the newspaper. Thank you all. Good night.